everyone. Today I'm going to be in conversation with Carolin and Müge, and they're going to be telling us more about the Journal of Virtual Exchange. But before we get stuck in, I'd like them to introduce themselves. So Carolin, you go first. Tell us where you're joining us from and what you do.
Thank you, Lorenza, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today together with Müge. I'm Carolin Fuchs. I'm at Northeastern University in Boston. I have a triple appointment. I'm in the German program. I run the German program. I'm also in the English department in the English writing program. And I'm also the coordinator for the College of Social Sciences and Humanities, where I coordinate online teaching and learning, working with a lot of different faculty from across the disciplines.
Thank you, Carolin. Müge, how about you?
Thank you as well, Lorenza, for inviting us to talk about the journal. We're very happy to be talking to you. So I'm Müge Satar. I'm at Newcastle University in the UK. I'm in Applied Linguistics and Communication. And my work looks at video and online settings for language learners and users to communicate, and I focus on multimodal and intercultural aspects. I've also recently taken on an administrative role. I'm our faculty's interim dean for global or internationalization. Yeah, I, like Carolin, almost juggling two jobs.
Juggling many jobs. Well,
I'm juggling.
Juggling many jobs, but you've made time to join me today, which is fantastic because you guys are the ones behind the Journal of Virtual Exchange. So, Carolin, I'm going to ask you first, can you give us a little bit of context, a little bit of history to this Journal of Virtual Exchange, please?
Yeah, so the journal is interdisciplinary, it's online, and it's open access. And we support educators involved in different virtual exchange projects in different subjects, disciplines, socio-institutional contexts. And how we started out, we were founded in 2018 by our UNICollaboration colleagues, Melinda Dooley and Breffney O'Rourke. And the main goal was to provide a forum for reporting and discussing innovative practice. And so the journal aims really to be a forum for both practitioners and researchers for discussing ideas, insights, and experience theory and practice. So basically having a dialogue between theory and practice. And we were first housed when we started in 2018 at Trinity College in Dublin. Oh. And then after a couple of years, we moved to the University of Groningen Press, so University of Groningen in the Netherlands. And we currently have 2 editors-in-chief. That's Müge here and myself. We have 4 associate editors, Joe Cunningham at Georgetown University, Alice Gruber at Augsburg University of Applied Sciences in Germany, Hiba Ibrahim at York University, Canada, and Marina Orsini-Jones at Coventry University in the UK. And we welcome submissions from different contexts, from higher education contexts, but also from K-12. And we have no article processing costs, APCs. We're free for publication. And so, yeah, I'm going to turn back to Lorenza.
Okay, thank you for that, because we're going to go into more detail in a second. But Müge, tell us about the different types of publications that you have, because you told me something about video input as well. So tell us a bit more about what publications you have.
Indeed, we do have the traditional research articles that most academics are familiar with. We also have practice reports where where colleagues do not have to research on, do not have to report on research and rigorous methods or anything, but they can really talk about their practice and they can talk about the impact of their practice. The other 2 types of submissions that we have is the one you mentioned. We have published videos and interviews. We had the IVEC panel published, which was published, the recording was published on the journal. We don't receive a lot of these. We call them contributions in other formats. Maybe the vagueness of the title is putting people off, but they are what it is. They are contributions in other formats where many people don't have a venue or an outlet for. We really see the journal as a space where we bring researchers, practitioners, and colleagues, leadership and management positions come together to share their perspectives. And we've had interviews as well. We also have keynote articles. We've done a few by invite, but also when we have a big conference, either conference keynotes or UNICollaboration conference keynotes, speakers have been able to contribute something to those. We also have special issues. We have a regular special issue with IVEC, International Virtual Exchange Conference, every year. It is there. We have guest editors from the IVEC community, and we have papers published, presented at IVEC in that year. And again, they fit in one of the submission types, again, largely research articles or practice reports.
So staying with you, Müge, what makes a successful submission then for those out there wondering, you know, whether to submit an idea? Tell us more.
I suppose the first advice to give to anyone who's considering a submission is to go through our submissions recommendations. We do have example articles there as well. For research articles, we are looking for original contributions and with a theoretical framework and a rigorous research methodology. But for practice reports, it's more difficult to define what the criteria is. That's why we have two examples which we thought that we published, which we think are good examples of a practice report. Again, we're looking for originality, but we're not necessarily looking for a rigorous data collection and analysis. It's usually the opposite. We're really looking for the practitioner's evaluation of how the project went and their recommendations and their takeaways and their advice for anybody else who might be implementing the same pedagogy. For a successful practice report application, it's really important that there is an originality, that is not the same practice of a COIL model or a telecollaboration model that has been implemented. So we're not looking at impact on a specific outcome, but we're looking at the originality in the design of the virtual exchange, for example. It's sometimes a pedagogy that we know implemented in a new context with a slightly different way of arranging participants, with a different way of doing things, basically, that there is some innovation going forward. For contributions in other formats, I don't know, Carolin, do we have any criteria? Because we don't receive a lot of them. We're really open to colleagues who would like to send something that is not in a written format, because we really see these, you know, they could be essays, they could treat them like blog posts, really, but hosted within an organization rather than, so we see the journal as a kind of a one-stop shop where various people interested in virtual exchange can come together and find relevant content.
Okay, before I ask my next question to Carolin, do you want to respond to Müge's request for any outlines and suggestions for other types of content, Carolin?
Yeah, so I think we just work individually with the authors who have an idea. So that's why we don't really have any set guidelines. That it's so it really depends on what they have in mind, whether it's video format. So we work with them individually. Okay,
well, that's really good to know. So in terms of content and themes, Carolin, where is the journal in terms of content and themes?
Yeah, so adding on to what Müge just said, Müge talked about the special issues, the IVEC conference special issues. I want to mention that we have two more. We had two more special issues, recent special issues published, one on virtual exchange and the development of transferable skills, and the other one on global perspectives on virtual exchange for university internationalization. So those are two big themes. And at this point, I also want to just mention that we don't publish conference proceedings. We are a double-blind peer review process. So, but if people have an idea for a special issue, they should come to us, and we're happy to talk this through with them. We have a call for papers for a special issue that we have have on the website, I believe. And one thing to keep in mind, though, is UNICollaboration currently doesn't fund special issues. So people who have an idea for a special issue would also need to come up with their own funding. And then, so other contents, we have a really wide range of things. We have things, a lot of it is on student perspectives in virtual exchange, comparing virtual and in-person exchanges, for example. We have intercultural effectiveness across different disciplines. People have looked at role-playing games to learn about environmental sustainability. Then, of course, a lot, very important in teacher education, balancing the guidance and autonomy for pre-service teachers. Then we've had something on design thinking and social entrepreneurship. And social justice, of course, is a big topic, a lot of it in the COIL projects that we see that come across our desk. And then also people looking at different virtual exchange models. They review the models, learning outcomes, and provide programmatic insights. And we've also had a piece on teacher education in conflict zones. That's also relevant
Very
today.
topical right now. Yes.
Right,
yes.
exactly.
And what's getting the most readership at the moment, Carolin?
These are the ones who have the most readership.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
That's really, really good to know. Thank you for outlining that, Carolin. Now, Müge, what about in the future? Are there any abstracts or ideas you'd like to see more of?
Well, we're open to anything that is leading edge and innovative with an originality. So we are interested in receiving abstracts on any topics that are being discussed in the field that will make a difference and importance. Whatever is relevant to the field is relevant to us. We don't have an agenda to set an agenda. We really want to see what the community wants to read, what they want to publish, what they're interested in, and then really make sure that the standards are there, that the paper is readable and support the authors. We also have authors from, as Carolin mentioned, it's an interdisciplinary journal. So we have authors from who write differently, from different perspectives. So we try to work together in a way that we still keep that cohesion. And as Carolin mentioned, we are a double-blind peer-reviewed journal. So everything, including the research articles, could be, yes, but also the practice reports, the contributions in other formats, and the keynotes, they all go out for peer review. And we have peer review forms specific for each. And those forms for peer review reflect the kind of guidance we provide on the journal to the authors. So if the journals are able to, the authors are able to follow the guidance that is there, that would, circling back to your question about success, that would probably lead to high success. But we don't screen for specific topics. Obviously, if, for example, for interculturality, we get a lot of submissions that focus on culture and different understandings of culture. If there is no acknowledgement of the newer understandings of culture, and if it goes back to stereotypical and biased understandings and generalized understandings of culture, authors will probably hear back from us to say, okay, but where does this fit in with the newer understanding? So in terms of themes and topics, anything leading and cutting edge definitely is a good fit for us.
Thank you so much, Müge. Now we've talked about the journal, its contents and ideas, and how you work together. But Carolin, what are some of the challenges that you're facing these days?
Yeah, Müge has already mentioned one. We are an international journal, and so that means we deal with submissions from across the globe. And this means different regions, different disciplines. And so it can vary quite a bit what we receive. And then for each paper, we have to find 2 reviewers, who have expertise in the field or in the context. So that can be a challenge. Overall, finding reviewers is a huge challenge because people are overstretched these days. So I think one way that we try to counter this challenge is that we do a very thorough initial vetting process where we also provide very in-depth feedback for authors that we call editorial queries that get sent back along with the reviewers' comments in round 1. So we're trying to help a little bit to compensate for reviews that may have not, when reviewers might have not have a lot of time to do reviews. And then another challenge, of course, is owed to the fact that we're free, gold open access, and we have no article processing costs. So that means we are not revenue generating. All of our editorial work is free. None of us get paid. And we're very grateful that UNICollaboration is covering the copy editing costs. So those are covered by UNICollaboration. But that is, of course, a constant struggle managing the budget. But I think we've done pretty well so far.
So far, so good. So ending on a positive note before I let you get on, because it's Friday and I'm sure, well, Carolin, you've got a longer day ahead because you're in the US, but maybe we're moving towards the weekend. So Müge, where's the journal going in the future? What are you busy with at the moment?
So we're, I think, considering addressing the challenges that Carolin has mentioned. So one of the things we would like to do is indexing. We know indexing is important for our authors around we're all not all our authors have to be in academia, but most of them are. And when a journal is indexed in a specific index, then it is valued differently for promotional criteria. So one of the things we want to do this year, we are indexed in DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals, but trying to look for for what we need to do to get the journal index so that it's more attractive to a wider range of authors. Another thing we're trying to do is to diversify our editorial board and our editorial team and our associate editors. Most of us come from a languages background, and we would really like to diversify that in terms of both disciplines, but also regions and gender. So if anybody is interested in joining the editorial board or the editorial team, wanting to take on a bit of responsibility, please do reach out to us. I'll mention two more things. One of them is the copy editing charges that, as Carolin mentioned, we are very grateful that UNICollaboration is able to support us with that. But those charges are getting more and more expensive. Yeah. And we don't want to go back to the model of charging authors. So that's something we're busy with, trying to find alternatives of covering that. And finally, again, going back to what Carolin mentioned around the reviewing process. And we're all, everyone is very busy, and sometimes we get very little time for review. So we try to extend and enlarge our pool so that we send fewer articles for requests for certain individuals once a year, maybe max, or even less sometimes. So a call for anybody who's interested in reviewing for the journal, please do get in touch. We do value the contributions. It is the journalists for the community. And if we don't have good reviewers, we won't have good publications out to review. So it's a really important part of the process, especially if you're an author. Please consider reviewing for us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, journal@unicollaboration.org. That's the email address. Please contact us. We welcome more reviewers anytime. Thank you so much, Lorenza, for inviting us. This is such a pleasure to be here, and we're really excited about the journal and about the future of the journal.